Now, if you look at this pool, you'll be able to tell that propeller planes of World War II won, but if you dig just a little bit further, you can just barely make out that, oh wait, will you look at that? Anime girls as aircraft carriers. Now, in my mind, the fact that this got second place with such a high percentage is the real victory, so you might be wondering what I'm gonna yap about today. Well, shut up, I know what you want to see better than you do. So the anime in question in reality isn't really an anime, it's a web browser game that was developed by Kadokawa Games in 2013 by the name of Kantai Collection, which literally translates to Fleet Collection. Now, the whole concept of the game was that World War II naval ships were turned into anime girls, mainly from the Japanese Navy, but also later from other navies, including the Allied Navy. And so today, I want to talk about just the anime, which entirely focuses on the Japanese Navy. Now, right off the bat, I find it be kind of strange that the main characters, the good guys, are ships from the Japanese Imperial Navy during World War II, because in case you never once in your life had a history class or never watched any sort of World War II movie, the Japanese were low-key, high-key, low-key, very, very high-key the bad guys. Why? War crimes, baby, war crimes. Anyway, that aside, the anime. In the first episode, we meet our main character, Fubuki, who is supposed to represent the name ship of the Fubuki class destroyers. In the anime, Fubuki was the best of her class academically and is earnest, determined, you know, like your typical main character. Although in the anime, she has trouble translating knowledge into practice at first and is trained by the 3 light cruisers of the Sendai class, Naka, Jinzu, and Sendai. Yes, these also existed and were the only 3 Sendai class ships. And it's kind of cool because in the anime, the cruisers are like, yeah, because you're a special type destroyer, you're more heavily armed. You need to focus on your balance more. And it's like, you see, like in reality, battleships as anime girls. Who would have thought? Not me. Now, why was the Fubuki destroyer picked as the main character? Well, they were considered cutting edge and were a serious backbone of the Japanese Imperial Navy that remained effective until the end of the war, despite being older than enemy models. And in general, destroyers are smaller, versatile, agile, and protect the bigger ships. Also, Fubuki was considered the first real modern destroyer. So in the first episode, wow, the enemy appears out of nowhere. Fubuki fights, almost dies, but is saved by Omji, an aircraft carrier, Akagi. Fubuki is now inspired, and episode 2 is, you know, training arc, you know, being inspired type shit, like I said. Anyway, now's a good time to explain Akagi. In the anime, Akagi is confident, prideful, and capable because she is the flagship of the 1st Carrier Division and a valuable piece of the fleet. Now, she's also kind of supportive of Fubuki. For example, she gives a little pep talk to Fubuki before the battle.
Say thank you. I love you. Good luck. You're wonderful. Say everything on your mind. Don't ever hesitate to tell someone you love the things that are in your heart. Because for us Fleet girls, tomorrow is a luxury, but never a guarantee.
And holy shit, I was cringing at the beginning, but like she kind of spit, and I mean, I didn't get goosebumps. Holy fuck, that's. Anyway, so Akagi, the aircraft carrier, in reality the historical one, was initially supposed to be a battle cruiser before the plans changed and they built a carrier. Akagi played a major role in the Pearl Harbor attack. Deploying 27 Nakajima B-5N torpedo bombers, 9 Zeros, and 18 Aichi D-3As. Pearl Harbor, dude. Anyway, she also played a big role in the battle for Midway. Anyway, carriers also need a lot of resources to operate, which in the anime is reflected as Akagi and generally other ships as well, eating a lot and taking a long time in the repair bath. In episode 3, they try to take W Island, which is obviously hinting towards the historical battle for Wake Island in December 1941, which, you know, again is questionable because the Japanese, once again, I mean, the world isn't black and white, but they certainly weren't the good guys. My alarm is going off. What's going on? What do I need to do? So a little fun thing before the battle, this chick who's called Yubari after the IRL ship says, oh no, don't leave me behind. And it's like, ha ha ha, because in history she wasn't able to be towed by another destroyer and was left behind after getting hit by a torpedo, and she sunk. Bruh. Also look, Sendai has a seaplane like IRL. That's so cool. It's so cute. Anyway, in this episode, the character named Kisaragi, spoilers by the way, dies. And guess what? In IRL history, on December 23rd, 1941, the Japanese succeeded in taking the island that we're using in the chat. Oh my god. But during this operation, the Japanese destroyer Kisaragi was sunk by US Marine Corps aircraft. Now this loss hit Mutsuki, Fubuki's roommate and close friend, very hard, as both in the anime and IRL, they were close ships of the same class, but Mutsuki was the name ship. You know, World War II Navy ships of your country into anime girls, go ahead, it's a funny idea, you know, but why you gotta call it W Island? It's obviously Wake Island. Kisaragi even dies. Maybe that's like the point. You know, the characters die in the actual battle where they were sunk, but it doesn't apply to the other characters. I'm overthinking this. But you know what could be called the modern day Pearl Harbor? The constantly ongoing battle between you and the data brokers. I don't know if they'll allow that. Fine, keep going. Anyway, you are losing said battle pretty pathetically and letting the brokers collect your personal data, such as your browsing habits, your address, your name, insurance numbers. Yes, your browsing habits, Jonathan. And they sell this data for marketing purposes, but do not fear. The USS Enterprise for your online battle is Incogni. Now, since you have the right to your privacy, Incogni will remove and keep removing any data the data brokers have of you. How? Well, they make a request for your info's removal and handle all the objections and disputes for you. Just make an account, give Incogni permission to protect your privacy, and just sit back and relax, and you can keep track of everything Incogni is doing from this little window. So take your personal data back with Incogni. Use code ThatSpaceyGuy at the link below and get 60% off an annual plan. Now, episode 4, we meet the Kongo class. Battle cruisers are the name ship being just Kongo in the anime as in IRL. In the anime, she's bubbly and low-key kind of stupid, but still as valuable and capable as the other characters. Or so they say. I don't know, man. Seems kind of less gifted if you... Also, super duper fun fact, the Kongo class battle cruiser was developed by British naval architect George Thurston right before the First World War. And in the anime, this origin is represented by tea time.
I know, let's have a tea party.
Also, the other ships don't understand her British slang. Also, we get to know the destroyer Shimakaze, who in the anime is represented as a little different than the others, both in appearance and character. She's very hyper and does things at her own pace and often shows off her speed. Now, this is cause Shimakaze, the historical one, was an experimental ship, meaning it was the only destroyer to be armed with 15 torpedo tubes, and it tested an enormously powerful high temperature, high pressure steam turbine that was able to reach 79,240 horsepower. This made her one of the fastest destroyers in the world. Now, the 5th episode is nothing special really, but why are they all wearing school uniforms, huh? What? Wait. Those are like seifuku, which means like sailor fuku, which means like sailor clothes. It makes sense. Not really. Anyway, Fubuki becomes the new flagship of her new fleet, which means she has command of this new fleet she was assigned to. Episode 6 is a curry competition. Also, this chick can't stop talking about her whatever-inch torpedoes.
93 oxygen torpedoes.
Anyway, in episode 7, they go on a mission knowing that the Abyssals know all their codes. Also, the Abyssals, oh yeah, the Abyssals are like the bad guys. But Fubuki, who's become a pretty good leader at this point, orders the carriers to send recon planes, and in this case, in the anime, they shoot little Nakajima B5N torpedo bombers and look at them going with their landing and stuff. Aviation fan service. In episode 8, we meet Yamato, the name ship of the Yamato class. So in the anime, Yamato invites them to the base, and the base is pretty luxurious, you know, and the ship girls call it a hotel, and Yamato's like, no, I'm not a hotel, you know. And later it's revealed that Yamato is the most powerful fleet girl ever created, but has never actually been out to sea. And yes, the historical counterpart is that the battle cruiser Yamato was the most heavily armed battleship ever constructed, along with her sister ship Musashi. She was barely used because they were too scared of losing said heavily armed ship, so she was called Hotel Yamato by the sailors because of her luxurious design and underutilization. In episode 9, the main naval base is attacked and the fleet girls are called back from Yamato's base. Episode 10, the main battle is about to come. Fubuki is picked by Akagi as her escort. Akagi, the carrier from the beginning, you know, the one that Fubuki really admired, so this is like, whoa, for Fubuki. Anyway, like IRL, Fubuki class destroyers very commonly escorted larger ships such as carriers, including Akagi the aircraft carrier. Episode 11, as the title suggests, Operation MI begins. Now, not so subtly, this is referring to the actual Battle of Midway. Now, in the Battle of Midway, US forces intercepted a Japanese transmission and successfully decoded it and came to the realization that the Japanese naval forces were going to make a move on the strategically important Midway Islands. Strategically important because it's a convenient refueling and resupplying stop for ships in the Pacific. Also, there were 2 airfields there. Anyway, to keep it short, it was a face-off between 2 carrier fleets, and the Japanese got bodied by the ambushing US fleet, losing all 4 Japanese fleet carriers: Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, and Hiryu, the heavy cruiser Mikuma, as well as a lot of aircraft. Now, low-key, knowing this and after having watched like 11 episodes of the anime, fine, I was a little worried that all the characters I'd been watching were about to die, even if they fucking attacked Pearl Harbor, okay? But like, they didn't actually, and point it, it's an anime, okay? Fuck. So the battle begins, and holy, I just realized that the white arrows are like the fighters, you know, the Zeros, and the green arrows are like the B-5Ns, the torpedo bombers. Anyway, the airfields were represented by the airfield princess, and the god damn it, and the fleet girls attacked said princess, but the whole time the girls were like, something's weird, it doesn't feel right, almost like their transmission got intercepted and they were about to lose complete control of the Pacific and basically lose the war and all die. And big surprise, they get ambushed, but
We must break free from the chains of fate. We can't allow this higher power to control us.
show scene episode 12, minute 10:44, and so they fight, and I don't know what I was writing in the script.
This is the last one. How do you know that, Fubuki? I just do. I know. There are 3 enemy carriers.
Yep, maybe because you read a history book. Anyway, with the power of friendship, they beat the enemy fleet and all survive. And when altering this history they were talking about, you know, repeating itself, you know, maybe, you know, fucking our history where the Japanese lose, thankfully, you know, fucking me. Anyway, so the carriers were pretty badly damaged, so I guess that's supposed to be the historical reference, maybe, I don't know. I think they threw that out of the window at that point. Anyway, that was the first season of the anime. It wasn't as bad as I thought. I genuinely laughed sometimes, genuinely had feelings sometimes. I did watch it at 2x speed though, so maybe that made it less of a drag. I don't know. I enjoyed it at 2x speed, to be honest. Anyway, check out my Twitch and my second channel and the other links. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Or maybe on my Twitch, you know, who knows. Anyway, check out my Patreon too. Become a member if you want to support me. Okay, peace.